Hello and welcome to Team Franco Bodybuilding Podcast. Hoping everyone's doing great out there, getting it done both in and out of the gym. So I'm going to continue about prep talk, where this is almost turning into a mini series, and I would highly suggest for you to take a look at the last few podcasts if you haven't already, where I discuss initially about keeping it quiet, the power of a private prep, reminding you to earn it in the dark through another episode. Basically, you don't have to put everything out there. And then also reminding you guys, first-time competitors or those revisiting, is that prep doesn't build your physique. It basically reveals it. So I'm going off of that trend, and I think this topic is equally or more important, where it really does tie everything together. So let me just hit you with this right out of the gate. When you're in contest prep, the biggest mistake you can make is simply overcomplicating what already works. Because the truth is, nothing magical is going to happen during your prep. I can end it right there. You're not reinventing the wheel. You're not discovering some new secret formula. You're just basically shifting focus from building to revealing, losing body fat in a responsible way. But unfortunately, and yet, what happens as soon as prep starts? So if you've competed before, put that in your head. What sometimes happens? Doubt creeps in. Insecurities could get louder. You start questioning everything that you're doing. Even the same things that got you to this point, but quite often you start questioning them. But think about it. How did you build your physique in the first place? You didn't overanalyze every move. You didn't question every meal. You didn't go searching for 15 different opinions. You showed up, you grinded, day in and day out. No noise, no drama, just work in the gym, eating up enough, feeling good, going on with your daily life. That is something that is often missing for first-time competitors or even the more experienced ones. Now, let me say this too, because I do get it. The shift mentality, it is real. It's human nature. When you're in prep, you're pushing your body. You're leaning out. You're looking at yourself more critically than ever. You're passing a mirror, you're flexing. You're paying attention to social media more. Of course, some doubt is going to creep in. Of course, insecurities are going to show up. And honestly, that's all normal. But here's the big difference. It's not whether those thoughts show up. It's about what you do with them when they do. Because as a physique competitor, it's your job to get a hold of it. Not let it spiral. Not let those thoughts control your actions. You recognize it, you check it, and then you reset and move on, wiping the slate clean. Because you have to remind yourself when these doubts kick in or insecurities kick in that you are doing the work. You are following the plan. I'm moving in the right direction. Because confidence in prep isn't about feeling perfect. Believe me, I've been there. It's about staying grounded when your mind tries to pull you off track. It's just like any other anxiety. You need to center focus. You need to literally look down at your feet. This is the spot where you're at. It's about being grounded literally, both, but also figuratively in your mind. Now, this is where good coaching does matter, in my opinion, because prep is just not physical. It's mental. We can all admit that. Now, there are outliers. Yeah, they live their lives, la-di-da. Doesn't bother them one bit. I had and have a lot of clients who fall into this, where eating less, doing more activity doesn't faze them. But not everyone's in this camp. But I will say, if you're not careful, your thoughts will sometimes sabotage you much faster than anything else. The more you question, the more stress you're going to create on your body. And we all know when that happens, stress goes up, cortisol goes up, and unfortunately, your body's going to start fighting you, where you're not going to have the fat loss. You're going to have sleepless nights. You're going to have weaker workouts. And that all together makes the process that much harder where it really needs to be, because the only additional stress on your body should be just eating less, doing more activity. So that is something that, again, a good coach can help guide you, help keep you grounded. But as long as you are just listening to that, coach and trusting what they are saying. Because I'm going to be blunt now. Even people with great coaches, they will go searching. They'll ask around. They'll start scrolling influencers, asking questions. They'll start looking for that, what they think, extra edge, or educating themselves beyond trusting themselves and their coach. And to me, more hands in the kitchen never really solves anything. It causes more confusion. It causes more panic. Because meanwhile, they already have the plan. It is working. So it's just extra noise. And really, that extra noise is going to kill the progress if you let it. So I really do believe you need to have that tunnel vision, because extra noise is only going to clutter the brain, cause more cortisol, therefore slowing your prep down, and that's not the healthy attitude that we're looking for. Now, here is another truth that people don't always want to hear when it comes to contest prep. And sometimes those insecurities that you are actually feeling, they may not be random, guys. They're actually telling you something. Not that you're failing, but maybe point blank, you need more time during the process. More time to build your physique up, or just simply more time to diet. And as a coach myself, and a competitor myself, and a judge myself, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. There is no shame at all. Because if anything, that's maturity coming from the competitor, becoming from the physique athlete. Because you've heard me talk about this before, a lot of people can be doing everything great, but their body just may respond a little bit slower. Although the tendency then becomes they rush the timeline. They force the show. They step on stage knowing that they weren't fully ready. But on the flip side, there are also times when you're doing everything right. You're consistent. You're hitting your numbers. You're showing up. And the physique just needs more time to come through. I've had those conversations with many clients over the years. And yeah, it's not easy. It's one of the hardest things about my job. But I'm obligated, and I want to tell them straight up, that you are doing a great job. There's absolutely nothing wrong. Just give me another 4 to 6 weeks of what you've been doing, and you're going to look like a completely different person, and you're going to be that much happier if you are willing to push through and stay the course. It's never a setback if you look at it that way. It's simply trusting in the process working. I've seen it over and over again where this happens with, first timers. And you've heard me say this, if you're a listener, hundreds of times throughout my career, I've had people reach out, and I simply know they need more time than the allotted 3 to 4 months that they have set their goal. I explain to them right away, the first goal is to look your all-time best, which that could be done in 3 or 4 months. But the second caveat is looking like you belong on stage. Now, that can happen too in 3 to 4 months. But as time goes on, what is interesting, and I do appreciate it, people become more competitive. And I think that is also needed for a strong competitor, physique athlete to do well. You need a little bit of competitiveness in your life, where a lot of these athletes were competitors at some time or another and using bodybuilding as their outlet. But with that, wanting to win a show, which you guys know you can't control, but to have a chance or to have that mentality of winning, then you certainly need more time, and you need to trust the process of yourself, and actually, if you have a coach, because winning doesn't mean getting lucky. Winning simply means knowing that you did everything possible within the time frame of your dedication, of your prep. That to me is, again, a tough conversation that I have with people, where I can feel confident, yeah, they got a shot of winning in the first year of competing, or it may take 3 years of competing. But that's why everyone has different fingerprints. At the end of the day, this is what it all comes down to: trusting the process. Especially for first time competitors, you've got to understand this. Your job isn't to win the first show. It's, again, and I'm repeating myself, to look your all time best, feeling like you belong, giving you the opportunity of this journey that you know that you can continue to improve by training hard, giving yourself more time to diet, and just living the lifestyle. That's it. That's the biggest secret of them all. And unfortunately, a lot of coaches out there, they don't buy into this philosophy. This is my philosophy. And this is the type of people that I attract. Those who understand, yeah, I want to kick ass, but I know that it's step by step, where each show is one step closer to my ultimate goal. And honestly, guys, we're never done. You can be competing for 30 years, changing paths, fighting injuries, having lots of life stuff, but we're constantly shooting for more. And to me, that is what bodybuilding's about. It's a never-ending evolution of wanting to get better, adjustments, changing paths when necessary to really reach the satisfaction of doing something for yourself. Because once you understand that, you're learning, you're improving. You're just not chasing that first place. You're not just focusing on that pro card, because if you do, you're going to be rushing through the process. And another issue sometimes people have when they're not trusting the process is that it's the whole comparison trap, where you've heard me say this 1,000 times. In probably the last 3 podcasts that I dropped, I'm bringing up social media, so I'm going to do it again. You start looking on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, looking at other competitors, and then asking, why don't I look like that? Why am I not there yet? Meanwhile, you're comparing your chapter 2 to someone else's chapter 10, someone who could have been competing for quite longer. You don't know their background. You don't know how long they've been doing this. You don't know what they've put in, and therefore you do the whole comparison game, which to me is a greatest insecurity of them all. It will pull you right out of your own lane, steal your own journey when you start comparing. And yes, that's the ironic thing about bodybuilding, because when you're on stage, there's no offense or defense, and you are being compared to someone on stage. And that could be another topic for another day. But how you got there and your physique, your mentality are 2 separate things, where you can't compare. Everyone is different. Everyone trains differently. Everyone has different genetics. So you got to learn to let that go if you want to reach your own potential. So, guys, I'm just going to remind you, instead of, looking sideways, looking back, you want to look how far you've come. You want to look at what you have currently built to this date, realizing you are going to get better. And then you can look back on your path and then compare on how far you have come. Because I promise you, when you stay patient, if you trust what you're doing and you give it the time that actually requires to build a physique, that's when everything's going to click. The confidence is going to show up. You're going to feel better about yourself. And that's when your physique actually shows up. And along with that, you're going to be nailing your prep. You're going to have a good time at the show. Cortisol and stress levels will be much lower. And that's when you realize you don't need to rush into it. So I'm hoping this is helpful for you guys. If it hit home, please share it with someone who's in prep right now. Listen to it, bookmark it. Obviously, if you're in need of a coach or just want to bounce anything off of me, you know I always got your back. You can hit me up. Best way is email fitfranco@verizon.net. And I will talk to you guys next time.